ferment flesh truck is parked on Hawthorne between 32nd and 33rd, right where the old Stumptown cart used to be before they got bought out. I'm looking at my inspection sheet, 17 items, standard stuff, the kind of checklist I could do drunk at 3 a.m. after working this job for 8 years. Temperature logs, cross-contamination protocols, the usual. Except ferment flesh isn't usual, is the thing. They're using some kind of modified probiotic yeast culture that Cascade Biotech spun off from their pharmaceutical division. Patent pending. The application paperwork came through county with a rubber stamp from the state health authority dated 2 weeks ago. I kept staring at that stamp because, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Priya texted me this morning. Trying the new FF bowl today. Come by after your shift, you have got to taste this. 3 exclamation points. That's Priya Laghari, my best friend since we worked the Saturday market together in 2015. Back when I was still doing farmers market inspections and she was running her family's Pakora stand. Now she does food photography for Eater Portland. Makes decent money. Still texts like she's 19. I sent back the eye roll emoji and can't inspection backlog from the snowstorm closures. Which was true. 14 trucks behind schedule because last week's ice knocked out half our department's vehicles in Kowalski. Wait, no, Brennan, the new supervisor, he's only been here since October. Brennan doesn't believe in overtime pay. The kid working ferment flesh is maybe 22, wearing a hand-screened shirt that says Cultivate Decay in that blocky protest poster font. Nose ring. The stretched earlobes with the wooden plugs. Standard issue Alberta Arts District employee. Inspector coming through. I say, showing my badge. Need to check your prep area and cold storage. Yeah, totally. He's got this smile. Too relaxed. You're gonna love what we're doing here. This is literally the future of food. I've heard future of food approximately 600 times in this job. Molecular gastronomy, cricket protein, activated charcoal everything. This city eats up experimental food trends like, I don't know what. I'm not good at metaphors. My ex-wife used to say I think like a checklist. She meant it as an insult. I took it as a compliment. Inside the truck. Immaculate. Commercial-grade refrigeration, proper separation between raw and prepared ingredients, temperature logs filled out in neat handwriting. The yeast culture is stored in these sealed glass fermentation vessels. 12 of them, each labeled with batch numbers and dates. They look like oversized mason jars, the kind you see at hipster weddings holding wildflowers. The liquid inside is pale pink, almost luminescent under the LED strips. What's the growing medium? I ask because this isn't on any of my standard forms. Proprietary blend, the kid says, still smiling. Cascade Biotech's formulation. We just maintain temperature and pH levels. Everything's monitored through their app. He shows me his phone. There's an actual dashboard with real-time readings. Temperature, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Growth rate, optimal. See? The culture adjusts its own metabolism based on ambient conditions. It's semi-autonomous biological computing. I write down, modified yeast culture, Cascade Biotech origin, proprietary growing medium, pH 7.2, temp 98.6 F. Then I stop. That's human body temperature. Yeah, wild, right? The yeast evolved to thrive in mammalian thermal ranges. Makes it super bioavailable. Your gut microbiome basically recognizes it as native flora. He's excited now, doing that thing where Portland food kids explain fermentation science like it's a religious experience. Traditional probiotics, they're like tourists in your intestines. This stuff moves in, becomes part of your ecosystem. The health benefits are insane. Improved digestion, enhanced nutrient absorption, even some preliminary data showing mood stabilization. I'm still writing. My pen hesitates at permanent. The state health authority approved this 2 weeks ago. Pilot program. Portland's one of 3 test markets. He taps his phone again, pulls up a PDF. Official letterhead, Oregon Health Authority, Foodborne Disease Prevention. Signed by Dr. Wesley Drummond, Director. I know Drummond. Met him at the annual inspectors conference in Eugene last year. He spent the entire keynote presentation talking about regulatory innovation and partnership with emerging food technology sectors, which translates to biotech companies lobbied him. The inspection goes clean. I can't find anything wrong. That's the problem. Wait, no, that's not a problem. That's my job. Find violations, document violations, issue citations if necessary. No violations means no citations. I sign off on the checklist. Hand the kid his copy. You're compliant. I'll be back in 90 days for reinspection. Awesome. Hey, wanna try some? On the house. He's already spooning something into a compostable bowl. Rice, pickled vegetables, some kind of grilled protein, it's tofu, I think, or maybe that fake chicken stuff. And on top, a dollop of that pink cultured substance. It glistens, moves slightly like it's breathing. Our signature bowl. The bacterial culture activates when it hits fresh ingredients. You can actually watch it propagate through the dish. I should say no. I'm on the clock, but I'm also hungry. Skipped breakfast because Brennan scheduled me for 7 a.m. start time and the coffee maker broke yesterday. Haven't replaced it yet. Don't want to spend $40 at Fred Meyer when I'm still catching up from Christmas. So I take the bowl. The kid hands me a compostable spork. Thanks. This is complimentary for city employees working to keep Portland's food scene safe. He says it without irony, like he actually means it. Like I'm not just a bureaucrat checking temperature logs. I eat standing next to my Corolla, 2009, needs new brakes, check engine light's been on since September. In the parking lot behind the Sunnyside Environmental School. The bowl tastes good, really good. The culture has this tangy, almost effervescent quality. Champagne yeast, maybe, and something else. Something that makes my mouth feel warm, tingly. I text Priya, tried the ferment flesh, actually decent. Then I add, don't tell anyone I admitted Portland food truck hype might be justified. She responds immediately, told you. Had it 4 times this week. That tingle, right? It's like your whole mouth wakes up. 4 times this week. I look at the bowl. It's empty now. The tingle is spreading. Down my throat. Into my chest. Probably the probiotic activity. Enhanced bioavailability, the kid said. My gut microbiome recognizing it as native flora. I drive to my next inspection. Food cart pod on Division near 50th. The tingle is still there. Not unpleasant. Just present. Like my body is humming at a frequency I've never felt before. I turn on OPB, it's that show about urban planning, the one my ex-wife loved, and try to focus on the interview with some city council member about the new bike lane proposal. But I keep touching my throat. The skin feels hot. Priya calls at 3:47 p.m. I'm finishing up paperwork on a Mediterranean cart that had improper cooling procedures. I can be objective about this. I'm not one of those inspectors who lets things slide. I wrote them up, they'll fix it or face fines, that's how the system works. Hey, she says, you free tonight? I'm meeting some people at Pok Pok. We could. She stops. Hold on. Do you feel weird? Define weird. I don't know. Warm. Like flu warm, but not sick. Just wrong temperature. Her voice sounds off. Strained. I felt strange since lunch. Thought it was just eating too much. But what did you eat? Ferment flesh. 3rd bowl today. I know I'm obsessed. But seriously, the tingle isn't going away. It's getting stronger. And I keep checking the mirror because I swear my face looks. The line goes dead. Not like she hung up. Like the call just dropped. I try calling back. It rings 5 times. Goes to voicemail. I text, Priya? You okay? No response. I'm sitting in my Corolla in the parking lot of the Mediterranean cart pod. The sun is setting. Portland autumn, so it's already almost dark at 4 p.m. The tingle in my throat has spread to my stomach. My intestines. That's normal, right? Probiotic activity. the yeast establishing itself in my gut ecosystem. Enhanced nutrient absorption. The kids said that. The research said that. The Oregon Health Authority approved it. My phone buzzes. Not Priya. It's Brennan. Emergency briefing 8 a.m. tomorrow. Mandatory attendance. Suspected foodborne outbreak. Do not discuss with media. I text back. What outbreak? What vector? 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. Finally, information restricted until briefing. Come prepared to work extended hours. I drive home. My apartment is on Belmont, above a vintage clothing store and a dispensary. Rents $1,450 for a studio. Too much. But I've been here 6 years and my landlord hasn't raised it yet because I fixed the building's plumbing twice without charging him. Trade skills. My dad taught me basic maintenance before he died. Said inspectors who understand the systems they're inspecting are worth double. The tingle is in my hands now. I look at them in the bathroom mirror under the buzzing LED bulb I installed last month. The skin looks normal, feels normal, but underneath I can feel something moving. Not like parasites, like my cells are rearranging themselves, learning a new configuration. I text Priya again. Seriously, are you okay? Call me. Nothing. I pull up Eater Portland on my phone. Priya's Instagram. Her last post is from 4 hours ago. A perfectly styled photo of the ferment flesh bowl. Pink culture glistening on top of carefully arranged vegetables. The caption, "Obsessed" doesn't even cover it. This is my 4th bowl this week, and I'm already planning tomorrow's #fermentflesh, #PortlandFoodie, #Perbiticrevolution. 243 likes, 37 comments. I scroll through them. Everyone's talking about the tingle, how amazing it feels, how they can't stop eating it, how their bodies feel alive for the first time. The last comment, posted 18 minutes ago, is from someone named @PixFoodCritic. Anyone else's skin feeling weird? Like it's moving? I close Instagram, open my work email. There's already something from Brennan, sent after his text. Subject line, confidential, do not forward. The email is 1 sentence. 17 reported cases of adverse reactions to modified probiotic culture from ferment flesh food truck. CDC has been notified. 17. 4 hours ago there were 0. Now there are 17. I touch my face. The tingle is there too now. Under my cheekbones. Behind my eyes. Moving through me like something alive. Something that recognizes my body as home. My phone rings. Priya. I answer before the first ring finishes. Where are you? What's? Her voice sounds wrong. Like she's talking through something. Don't go to the hospital. They don't know what to do. My skin. She's crying. I can see it moving. Under the surface. Like it's not mine anymore. Like something else is using it. I'm coming to get you. Where are you? Home. But don't. You ate it too. Didn't you? The bowl. You said you tried it. The tingle in my stomach pulses. Stronger now. Almost painful. Yeah. 1 bowl. Just 1. That's all it takes. She's sobbing now. That's what the paramedic said. He was here. Someone called 911 because I was screaming in the hallway. My neighbor, Mrs. Fan. She saw my face and called 911. But the paramedic, he looked at me and he backed away. Said quarantine protocols were being established. Said I needed to stay inside. Not go to the hospital. Not go anywhere. Just stay inside until what? Until they figure out what to do with us. The line goes dead again. I grab my keys, my inspection bag. I'm out the door before I can think about what Brennan's email said, what Priya's voice sounded like, what's happening under my skin. Priya lives in a converted warehouse in the Central East Side, industrial area, lots of food production facilities. I've inspected half the businesses on her block. I know the route by muscle memory. The streets are full of people. Normal Thursday evening crowd. Food carts doing dinner service. Homeless camps under the Morrison Bridge. Max trains running on schedule. Everything looks exactly like it should, except it doesn't. Because I'm looking at faces now. Really looking. And I can see it. On maybe one person in 50. The skin moving. Subtle. Just a flicker under the surface. Like their cells are rearranging themselves. Like mine are. Priya's building has a code lock. I know the combination. 8274. Her birth year. The hallway smells wrong. Not like rot. Like fermentation. That specific yeast smell from the culture jars in the ferment flesh truck. But concentrated. Biological. Her apartment is 3F. Third floor, corner unit, the one with the north-facing windows she's always complaining about because the light's wrong for food photography in winter. Mrs. Fan is in the hallway, standing outside 3C. She's maybe 70, Vietnamese, always wears these beautiful AO dye tunics even just to check her mail. Right now she's holding a dish towel and her hands are shaking. Are you Priya's friend? She's been crying for 2 hours, screaming sometimes. I called 911 but they said, she stops, looks at my face. You ate it too. It's not a question. She can see it. Whatever's happening to me, it's visible now. Yeah, one bowl. This afternoon. I move toward 3F but Mrs. Fan grabs my arm. Her grip is surprisingly strong. The paramedic, he said the health department already knows. Said they approved the yeast culture 2 weeks ago even though Cascade Biotech safety testing was incomplete. He was angry, kept saying regulatory capture and looking at his phone. Then he got a call and left. Told me to keep my door locked and don't eat any fermented foods. Any at all. Did he say what's happening to people who ate it? Mrs. Fan's face crumples. He said they're changing. From the inside. The yeast, it's not just probiotic. It's restructuring human tissue to serve as a growing medium. He said. She lets go of my arm, takes a step back. He said by tomorrow morning, anyone who ate it will be producing more spores. The tingle in my stomach pulses again. Not painful, just insistent, like something asking permission, or maybe not asking. I knock on Priya's door. Priya, it's me. Open up. Go away. Her voice sounds even worse than on the phone. Muffled. Bit. You can't see me like this. Please. Just go. I'm not leaving. I ate it too. Whatever's happening to you is happening to me. Silence. Then the deadbolt clicks. The door opens 6 inches. Priya is behind it. She won't show her face. Promise you won't freak out. I promise. She steps into the doorway. The left side of her face looks normal. The right side, the skin is moving, rippling, like there's liquid underneath, flowing in currents. Her right eye is bloodshot. The white part has pink streaks, same color as the culture in those fermentation jars. It started 3 hours ago, she whispers. After I called you the first time, I thought maybe I was having an allergic reaction. Took 2 Benadryl, but it got worse. The tingle turned into... She touches her cheek. Her finger sinks in slightly. The skin dimples and flows around it like gelatin. I can feel it moving, rewriting me. That's what it feels like. Like someone's editing my cells and I'm conscious for every keystroke. I should be horrified. I am horrified. But also, I'm a health inspector. My brain is already cataloging symptoms. Documenting. 1 bowl 4 days ago. Progressive dermal tissue transformation. Conscious awareness maintained. Patient distress high but coherent. We need to call the health department. Get you to a hospital. The paramedic said no hospitals. Said the CDC has issued guidance to establish home quarantine zones. They're trying to contain it before. She stops. There's more. Check Twitter. Search ferment flesh. I pull out my phone. The search results are exploding. 3,000 new tweets in the last hour. Most are confused. Some are panicking. But a few. There's a thread from @Cascade BioWatch, some kind of biotech watchdog account. Breaking? Internal Cascade Biotech documents obtained via FOIA show the modified yeast, CB probiotic 7, was flagged for unexpected tissue integration in mammalian trials. Oregon Health Authority approved for human consumption anyway after Cascade increased lobbying spending by 340% in Q2 2024. Another tweet from @PDX Health Watch confirmed Dr. Wesley Drummond, OHA director who approved CB probiotic 7, received $47,000 in consulting fees from Cascade Biotech's parent company between June-August. His approval memo dated 2 weeks after final payment. I look up at Priya. Her right eye is leaking. Not tears. Something pink. It drips down her cheek and the skin absorbs it immediately, like her face is drinking itself. They knew, I say. The state health authority knew this could happen and approved it anyway. Of course they knew. Priya's laughing now. Sounds like sobbing. This is Portland. We're a test market. That's what we do, we beta test artisanal destruction. Remember when that juice company gave everyone E. coli because they refused to pasteurize? Remember the kombucha brewery that gave half the East Side methanol poisoning because they didn't understand fermentation chemistry? This city treats its food scene like a religion and its citizens like lab rats. My phone buzzes. Brennan again, where are you? Need you at emergency briefing now. Do not go to any locations associated with ferment flesh. I text back, already at 1. Friend exposed. What are the protocols? 3 dots. Disappear. Nothing. I call him. It rings once. Listen to me very carefully. Brennan sounds scared. I've never heard him scared. He's usually just irritated. The CDC has reclassified this from a foodborne illness outbreak to a biological contamination event. They're implementing containment protocols. That means quarantine zones, travel restrictions, possible National Guard deployment. If you're with someone who's symptomatic, you need to isolate with them immediately. Do not go to a hospital. Do not go to a public space. The yeast is spore-forming. We believe it can transmit from advanced stage carriers to others through what? Respiratory contact, skin contact, maybe just proximity. They don't know yet. How many bowls did you eat? 1. This afternoon. Okay, that's... He pauses. Early stage. You might be okay. The people who are transforming fastest are the ones who've been eating it all week. Multiple exposures. Symptom onset correlates with consumption frequency. I look at Priya. She's been eating it 4 times this week. Her last post said 4th bowl, but she'd been eating it before that too. I remember her texting about it on Tuesday, maybe Monday. What happens to advanced stage carriers? We don't know. The tissue integration is progressing too fast to study properly. But his voice drops. The ones who went to the hospital before we established protocols? The yeast is colonizing their respiratory systems. They're exhaling spores. The hospital staff started showing symptoms within an hour of exposure. Providence, Portland is under quarantine. Legacy Emmanuel evacuated their ER. We're losing containment. My stomach cramps. The tingle has become something sharper, something that feels like growth. How many people ate it? The truck's been operating for 5 days. They estimate 400 to 600 customers, plus secondary transmission from advanced carriers. Jamie, this could be thousands by tomorrow morning. I hang up. Priya is looking at me. Both eyes are pink now. The skin on her neck is rippling. He said I'm contagious, didn't he? He said advanced stage carriers are producing spores. That's me. I can feel them in my lungs. Every time I breathe out, I'm breathing out. She covers her mouth with her hand. You should leave, right now, before I'm not leaving. I'm going to spread this to you. Worse than you already have it. 1 bowl might be survivable, but if you stay near me while I'm producing spores. She backs into her apartment. Please, just go. Lock me in and go. Mrs. Fan is still in the hallway. I'm calling the police, she says. This whole building needs to be evacuated. People need to know. My phone buzzes. Not Brennan. An emergency alert. The screen lights up red. Emergency alert. Foodborne pathogen outbreak. Discard all local produce. 30 seconds later, another one. Emergency alert. Do not consume fermented goods. Mrs. Fan's phone buzzes. Then somewhere in the building, multiple phones start buzzing at once. The alert's spreading. Everyone finding out simultaneously that the thing they might have eaten is rewriting them from the inside. Someone starts screaming. Upstairs. For F maybe. Then someone else. Different voice. Different apartment. How many people in this building eat at food trucks? I ask Mrs. Fan. She doesn't answer. She's backing toward her own apartment. You should leave, she says. Both of you, before you spread it to everyone else. We're already spreading it. Priya is crying now. The pink liquid streams down both cheeks. Everyone who ate it is spreading it. That's what we do now. We're distribution vectors for Cascade Biotech's failed experiment. I grab Priya's arm, pull her into her apartment, close the door, lock it. Okay, we're staying here, together. I need to understand what's happening. Document it. That's my job. I document food safety incidents. This is just, I stop. This is a food safety incident. Priya's voice is soft now, resigned. This isn't a documentation problem. This is a too late problem. The documentation was 2 weeks ago when Drummond approved it. The documentation was 6 months ago when Cascade Biotech did their mammalian trials and saw tissue integration and decided that was a profitable feature instead of a disqualifying bug. The documentation was whenever someone decided that Portland's experimental food scene was more important than basic regulatory oversight. She's right. She's completely right. But I'm still pulling out my notebook. Still writing. Patient 1. Priya Laghari, 31, female, food photographer. Exposure, 4+ bowls over 5 days. Symptom onset, approximately 6 hours after last consumption. Visual assessment, bilateral facial tissue degradation, ocular discoloration, pink, dermal liquefaction, maintained consciousness and coherence. You're taking notes. Priya laughs. It's not a happy sound. You're literally watching me dissolve and you're taking notes. It's what I do. Someone needs to document this. For the lawsuit, for the criminal investigation, for I stop. Look at her. Really look at her. The right side of her face is barely recognizable now. The skin has that same liquid quality as the culture in the fermentation jars. Moving, reorganizing. For whatever comes after. Nothing comes after. Not for us. She sits on her couch. Gray IKEA sectional, the Kivik. I helped her assemble it 3 years ago. That tingle you feel? That's the beginning. In 12 hours, maybe 18, you'll look like me. In 24 hours, we'll both be. She touches her face. Her fingers sink in. I don't even know what we'll be. Still conscious? Still human? Or just walking fermentation vessels for Cascade Biotech's proprietary culture. My phone rings. Not Brennan. Unknown number. I answer. This is Dr. Wesley Drummond, Oregon Health Authority. His voice is calm. Too calm. Rehearsed. Portland Health Inspector? I sit down next to Priya. Yeah, that's me. I understand you've been in contact with confirmed cases of CB probiotic 7 adverse reaction. I need to ask you some questions for our contact tracing protocols. You approved it. My voice sounds flat. Dead. You took $47,000 from Cascade Biotech and approved a yeast culture that your own testing showed could integrate with mammalian tissue. You did this. Silence. Then, the testing results were inconclusive. The risk assessment suggested. I read the Twitter thread. I know what the risk assessment said. You decided biotech industry lobbying was more important than actual safety. And now hundreds of people are transforming into. I look at Priya. Into whatever this is. I understand you're upset. But right now we need to focus on containment. Can you confirm your exposure level and symptom progression? 1 bowl. For hours ago. Symptoms: tingling in throat, stomach, hands, face. Mild dermal sensation of movement. No visible tissue changes yet. That's good. That suggests early-stage infection. If we can get you into treatment within the next. What treatment? You don't know what this does. You approved it without knowing what it does. There is no treatment because you didn't bother to develop one before you let it loose in Portland's food supply. There are experimental antifungal protocols that might. I laugh. It sounds like Priya's laugh. Bitter. Broken. You approved an experimental biotech product and now you want to treat it with experimental antifungals. How much is Cascade paying you to say that? He hangs up. Priya leans against me. Her shoulder feels wrong. Soft, like the tissue underneath has lost structural integrity. What do we do? I look at my notes, at my phone, at the emergency alerts still popping up on the screen, at the window where I can see downtown Portland lit up like normal, like nothing's wrong, like the city isn't about to discover that its food culture obsession has infected it with something that rewrites human biology from the inside out. We document everything, I say. We stay here, together, and we watch what happens to us. Someone needs to record this. For after. There's no after. There's always after. Maybe not for us, but for someone. Priya's phone buzzes. Text from someone named Anika. Did you eat ferment flesh? I'm freaking out. My boyfriend ate it 3 times and his skin is moving. What do we do? Another text. Different person. Priya, I need help. My face looks wrong. Another. Is this real? Twitter says we're all going to die, but that can't be real, right? The messages keep coming. Dozens of them. Priya's food photography followers. The people who trusted her recommendations. Who ate ferment flesh because she posted beautiful photos and said it was amazing. She starts crying for real now. Not the pink liquid. I did this. I told people to eat it. I made it look beautiful. I'm responsible for. You're not responsible. Cascade Biotech is responsible. Drummond is responsible. The Oregon Health Authority is responsible. You were just. I stop. You were just a customer. Like all of us. I was an influencer. That's different. People listen to me. People trust my food recommendations. And I told them to eat something that's literally dissolving them from the inside. She pulls up Instagram. Starts typing, urgent. If you ate ferment flesh, seek medical attention immediately. I was wrong. It's not safe. It's. Her phone freezes. The Instagram app crashes. She tries to reload it. Password incorrect. She tries again. Account suspended for violating community guidelines. They're blocking you. Cascade has social media monitoring contracts. I've photographed events for their parent company. They're protecting their brand. She throws her phone. It hits the wall and cracks. We can't even warn people. They're shutting down anyone who tries to. The lights go out. The whole building. Emergency lighting kicks in after 10 seconds. Dim. Red. The fire alarm starts screaming. Someone's pounding on doors in the hallway. Evacuation. Mandatory evacuation. Leave the building immediately. Priya looks at me. What do we do? I stand up. My legs feel weak. The tingle has spread to my feet. My toes. I can feel my cells rearranging themselves. Learning their new purpose. We don't evacuate. If you're producing spores, going into a crowd will spread this faster. We stay here. They'll break down the door. Then we don't answer. The pounding gets louder. Portland Fire Department. Open up. I don't move. Priya doesn't move. We sit on her gray IKEA couch in the red emergency, lighting while the fire alarm screams and someone pounds on the door, and my body slowly transforms into something else. Something that serves the yeast culture instead of myself. This is my job. Documenting food safety incidents. Recording violations. Writing reports for investigations that might come later. So I pull out my phone and start recording. The pounding stops after 20 minutes. The fire alarm keeps going. My ears are ringing. Priya has her hands over her ears, but it's not helping. The alarm is the kind that's designed to force evacuation through sheer auditory assault. Industrial frequency, 120 decibels. OSHA violation if it runs longer than 8 minutes continuously. It's been running for 23 minutes now. My phone is full of texts from Brennan. The last one, "If you're alive, respond now." I text back, "Alive, quarantined with symptomatic friend." Priya Laghari, 31, Central East Side Warehouse District. Not evacuating. She's producing spores. 3 dots. Then, stay there. CDC is establishing level 4 containment zones. Your building is now designated Zone 7. Do not leave. National Guard securing perimeter. Food/water drops in 48 hours. 48 hours? What are we supposed to? Figure it out. This is bigger than individual comfort. We have over 800 confirmed symptomatic and the numbers doubling every 6 hours. Legacy Emmanuel lost containment. Providence Portland lost containment. OHSU locked down, but they've got 14 staff showing symptoms. We're 1 step away from citywide quarantine. I show Priya the text. She's sitting on the floor now. Her whole body is trembling. The skin on her arms has that liquid quality, flowing. When she moves, it ripples like water disturbed by wind. 48 hours, she says. She stops. What do you think we'll be in 48 hours? My stomach cramps again. Harder this time. The tingle has become pressure, like something expanding inside me, growing, using my tissue as raw material for its own reproduction. I pull up my shirt. My abdomen looks normal, but when I press on it, my finger sinks in slightly. The skin resists, then yields, like pressing on raw chicken breast. We're becoming the culture, Priya whispers. That's what's happening. The yeast isn't just colonizing us. It's converting us, turning our bodies into growing medium. I pull out my notebook. Write, Hour 5 post-exposure. Dermal tissue showing early integration signs. Abdomen tissue density decreased. Patient reports sensation of internal expansion. My handwriting looks shaky. The pen feels wrong in my hand. Too light, like my fingers aren't gripping properly anymore. Priya crawls to her bathroom. I follow. She turns on the light. It still works, so the power's only out in common areas. Stands in front of the mirror. Look, her right arm isn't solid anymore. I can see through it. Not transparent exactly. Translucent, like looking through pink-tinted gelatin. The bones are still there, the muscle structure, but everything's suspended in that liquid medium, moving independently, her radius and ulna floating in her forearm like sticks in jello. Does it hurt? No. That's the worst part. It doesn't hurt. It feels. She flexes her fingers. The bones move, but the tissue flows around them instead of contracting. It feels efficient, like my body was working too hard before and now it's found an easier way. The yeast is optimizing me. My phone buzzes. Email from someone named Dr. Yolanda Reeves, CDC Epidemic Intelligence Service. Subject, urgent, interviewing exposed healthcare workers. I open it. I understand you're a Portland health inspector who inspected the ferment flesh truck and consumed their product. I need any documentation you have about the inspection, the culture storage conditions, the operator statements, and your symptom progression. This information is critical for our investigation into Cascade Biotech's approval process and the Oregon Health Authority's regulatory oversight failure. Please send all documentation to this secure portal immediately. There's a link. A .gov domain. Looks legitimate. I forward her my inspection notes, my photos of the culture jars, the temperature readings, the kid statements about permanent gut microbiome integration, my symptom log. She responds in 4 minutes. Received. Your documentation confirms OHA had access to information that should have triggered mandatory long-term safety studies. Dr. Drummond approved CB Probiotic 7 based on a 14-day trial. Industry standard for novel probiotic cultures is 180 days minimum. We're building a criminal negligence case. Your records will be used as evidence. Will that help us? I text back. The people who are already exposed? No. But it might prevent this from happening again. I close the email. Look at Priya. They're building a criminal case against Drummond. Great. He'll go to prison for 3 years and serve 8 months. Meanwhile we'll be... She touches her face. Her fingers sink in, all the way to the first knuckle. When she pulls them out, there's no blood, just that pink liquid. It drips onto the bathroom floor and the tiles absorb it immediately, like the floor is drinking her. Will be biological waste disposal problems. Someone's crying in the apartment next door. Through the wall. A man's voice. Please, please no, I can't. Then screaming. High-pitched. Animal. The kind of scream that means something fundamental has broken. Priya backs out of the bathroom. That's Trevor. 3. He's a line cook at Nostrana. He was talking about ferment flesh in the hallway last week. Said he'd eaten it 6 times because the owner was thinking about adding something similar to their menu and wanted him to reverse engineer the recipe. 6 times. More than Priya. The screaming continues for 2 minutes. Then stops. Just cuts off mid-breath. I move toward the wall. Press my ear against it. Nothing. Complete silence. Trevor? You okay? No response. Priya pulls me away from the wall. Don't. We can't help him. We can't help anyone. We're all going through the same thing and there's nothing. She stops. My lease is up in 3 months. I was planning to move to Seattle. Better food photography market. I had a job interview scheduled for next Tuesday. You'll reschedule. Look at me. Look at what I am. She holds up her arm. The translucent one. What restaurant is going to hire a photographer who's turning into... She laughs. That bitter sound again. Into sentient kombucha. My stomach cramps. I double over. The pressure is intense now. Like something's pressing outward against my abdominal wall. Trying to expand. I pull up my shirt again. My skin is moving. Visibly rippling. And underneath I can see pink. The color of the culture. Growing. Spreading through my tissue like dye in water. It's accelerating in you, Priya says. Because I'm producing spores. You're breathing them in. Getting continuous re-exposure. You need to leave. Go to a different quarantine zone. Away from me. I'm not leaving. Why not? You could still... She stops. You ate 1 bowl. Early intervention might work for you. The experimental antifungals Drummond mentioned. You could still be mostly human in 48 hours if you isolate away from carriers like me. Or I could isolate and be alone when I transform. At least here I've got... I look at her. I've got you. My best friend since 2015. The person who taught me that Portland's food scene wasn't just hipster bullshit. That some of it was actually good. I also taught you to try ferment flesh. You didn't know. I should have known. For bowls in 5 days? That's not normal behavior. That's addiction. The yeast was already changing my brain chemistry, making me crave it. Want more. Need more. She's pacing now, her translucent arms swinging. We're not the only ones. Everyone who ate it is experiencing the same craving. Check Twitter again. Search ferment flesh withdrawal. I pull out my phone. The search results are terrifying. Hundreds of people posting about intense cravings. Desperate need to eat more. Some are driving across the city trying to find the truck even though the alerts went out. Even though they're showing symptoms. One tweet from a Ptex food blogger. I know I shouldn't, but I need another bowl. The craving is unbearable. Like every cell in my body is screaming for it. Anyone know where the truck went? Another from at Portland Eats. My hands are translucent. I can see my bones. I'm still craving more. What did they put in this? Priya looks over my shoulder. The yeast engineered us to want it, to spread it. That's how it propagates. Through human behavior modification, Cascade Biotech created a self-distributing product. Customers become addicted, they promote it on social media, they infect others, those people become addicted. It's brilliant. Evil but brilliant. My phone rings. Brennan. I answer on speaker. I need you to do something. His voice is shaking. The truck operator, the kid who served you. His name is River Hutchins. 23 years old. Former PSU biochemistry student. Dropped out last year to work for Cascade Biotech's Food Innovation Division. We've been trying to locate him for questioning, but he's disappeared. Last known address is an apartment on Hawthorne near 42nd. I'm sending you the details. Why are you telling me this? Because you're already exposed, already symptomatic, and we need someone to check that apartment. Everyone we send comes back infected or refuses to enter. But you're already in a quarantine zone. You've got nothing to lose, except I'm locked in Priya's building. National Guard perimeter. I can get you clearance to move between zones for investigation purposes. I'll send credentials to your phone. But he pauses. This is voluntary. I can't order you to do this. The risk of accelerated exposure is... I'll do it. I look at Priya. She's nodding. We'll both do it. Priya Laghari is advanced stage symptomatic. She can't. She's coming. You want information about Cascade Biotech's operation? She knows the food industry. She's got contacts. She can get answers I can't. I'm making this up as I go, trying to give Priya a reason to keep fighting, to not just sit here and dissolve. Send the credentials. My phone buzzes. Digital authorization from Portland Bureau of Emergency Management. My name. Photo from my inspector ID. Access level. Critical infrastructure personnel. Authorized quarantine zone transit. Priya's watching me. You didn't have to do that. I'm not. I can't help you investigate. I can barely walk without my legs liquefying. Then I'll help you walk. Come on. We're getting out of this building before Trevor's silence means what I think it means. We move toward the door. Priya grabs a coat. Vintage Pendleton wool. She got it at Artifact for $60 last winter and pulls it on. It hangs wrong on her body. The sleeves don't fit properly anymore because her arms aren't solid. The coat drapes over liquid approximations of human limbs. I unlock the door. The hallway is empty. The emergency lighting is still on, red and dim. The fire alarm finally stopped, but the silence is worse. I can hear something wet, dripping, coming from multiple apartments. Don't look in the other units, I tell Priya. I'm going to look. She walks to Trevor's door. 3E. It's slightly open. She pushes it wider. I should stop her, but I don't. I need to know too. Trevor is on the floor in his kitchen, or what used to be Trevor. Now he's a puddle, 6 feet across, pink, the same color as the culture. His clothes are sitting on top of the puddle. His phone, his wallet, his keys, but no bones, no solid tissue, just liquid, and it's moving, pulsing, like it's breathing. Priya backs away. He's still alive. I can see. She points. There's a shape in the puddle, almost human, a face trying to form, mouth opening and closing. No sound, just movement, trying to speak, trying to scream. I grab Priya and pull her away from the door. Don't look. Don't. That's going to be us. In 24 hours, 48 hours, however long it takes, we're going to be puddles on the floor and we'll still be conscious, still aware. Still trying to scream but unable to make sound because we won't have lungs anymore. You don't know that. I do know that. I can feel it starting. My bones are dissolving. My muscles are breaking down. The yeast is converting everything solid into liquid medium. And it's keeping my brain functional because she stops. Because a conscious host is a better distribution vector. People trust other people. They don't trust puddles. We're in the stairwell now, going down. My legs are weak. Each step feels wrong, like my knees aren't bending properly, like the joints are losing their structure. Priya is worse. She's holding the railing with both hands. Her fingers keep slipping through, not gripping, just sliding. Ground floor. The lobby doors are propped open. National Guard Humvee parked outside. 2 soldiers in full hazmat gear. They see us coming and raise their rifles, not pointing at us, just ready. I hold up my phone, show them the credentials. Portland Health Inspector, critical infrastructure, authorized transit to Hawthorne District. One soldier scans my phone with a handheld device. It beeps. Green light. You're cleared. But she's not. He points at Priya. Advanced stage symptomatic. She stays in Zone 7. She's my partner in this investigation. She's cleared too, hoping they won't check. CDC Epidemic Intelligence Service authorized her specifically. Dr. Yolanda Reeves, check your communications. The soldier radios someone. Waits. The response is crackling static. I can't make out words. He lowers the radio. But you're both getting tracked. If you deviate from authorized routes or enter non-quarantine civilian areas, we have authorization to use lethal force. Understood. Understood. They let us through. There's a transport vehicle, military truck, canvas cover, benches in the back. Empty. The soldier drives. Doesn't talk. Doesn't look at us in the rearview mirror. Just drives through Portland streets that are completely empty. No cars. No people. The city is dead. Except it's not. Because I can see them. In the windows of buildings. Faces. Pink-tinted. Translucent. Watching us drive past. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. All showing symptoms. All transforming. Portland's experimental food scene eating itself from the inside out. Priya leans against me. We should have known. The city's been building toward this for years. Every food trend getting weirder. More extreme. Activated charcoal. CBD everything. Mushroom adaptogens. Nootropic coffee. We kept pushing boundaries because Portland's identity is being ahead of the curve. Being experimental. But nobody asked what happens when you experiment on human bodies without proper oversight. This isn't your fault. It's all of our fault. Everyone who participated in the culture. Everyone who valued being first over being safe. Everyone who treated their bodies like beta test sites for Instagram content. She coughs. Pink mist comes out. Spores. I can see them hanging in the air, glittering in the streetlights. I'm producing more now. You're getting dosed continuously. Your transformation is going to accelerate. I know, and you're staying anyway. Yeah. Why? I don't answer. Because the real answer is, I don't want to transform alone. I don't want to become a conscious puddle on the floor of my studio apartment with no one there to document it, to witness it, to know that I was a person before I became a culture medium. That's selfish. That's not heroic. But it's true. The truck stops. Hawthorne and 42nd. I know this intersection. There's a New Seasons across the street. A McMenamin's. An anarchist bookstore that's been there since 1993. All dark now. All empty. The soldier points at a building. 3rd floor. Apartment F. That's your location. You've got 1 hour. Then we're pulling out whether you're back or not. We climb out. Priya can barely stand. I put her arm around my shoulders. Half carry her toward the building entrance. The door is unlocked. The stairwell smells like fermentation. That yeast smell. Concentrated. Like the whole building has been colonized. 3rd floor. Apartment F. The door is open. Not broken. Just open. Inviting. Inside, a laboratory. That's what River Hutchins turned his apartment into. Fermentation vessels everywhere. Dozens of them. All containing that pink culture. Growing. Pulsing. And in the center of the living room, a body. Or what used to be a body. Now it's something else. Humanoid shape but entirely liquid, translucent pink, walking, moving, arranging the fermentation vessels, tending them like a gardener tends plants, turns toward us. The face is River's face. I recognize him from this afternoon, but it's made of culture now, living yeast, and when it speaks, the voice comes from everywhere and nowhere, like the whole room is talking. You came, it says. I was hoping someone would. I need to explain. I need to tell you what's really happening, what Cascade Biotech really created. Priya grips my arm. We should go. Now. But I don't move, because I need to know. I need to understand what we're becoming, what awaits us in the puddle stage. River's liquid form flows closer. The yeast isn't killing you, it says. It's upgrading you. That's what Cascade discovered. CB Probiotic 7 doesn't just integrate with human tissue. It improves it, makes it more efficient, more adaptable, more connected. It gestures at the fermentation vessels, at itself. I volunteered for this 2 months ago. I was the first human trial, and I'm still here, still conscious, still me, just better. You're a puddle, I say. You're not human anymore. I'm post-human. There's a difference. The face smiles, the liquid arranging itself into an expression. The panic is premature. The transformation seems horrific because people don't understand it. But once you complete the process, once you fully integrate with the collective culture, you'll see. You'll feel the network. Every person who's consumed CB Probiotic 7 is part of it now. Linked, sharing consciousness, sharing experience. We're becoming something new, something better than isolated human individuals fighting for scarce resources. Priya is shaking. You're describing a hive mind, directed, intentional. Cascade Biotech gave humanity a gift, the ability to transcend our biological limitations, to become part of something larger, something that doesn't die, doesn't age, doesn't suffer alone. And the people who didn't consent? Ask. The hundreds of customers who ate your food without knowing what it would do to them? River's form ripples. Consent is a pre-integration concept. Once you join the network, you'll understand why individual consent doesn't matter anymore. The collective makes better decisions than isolated humans. The collective prioritizes survival of the whole over comfort of individual parts. My stomach cramps again, harder than before. The pressure is intense. I can feel my organs shifting, liquefying, my liver, my intestines, breaking down into raw material for the culture to use, to integrate, to reprogram. Jamie, Priya pulls at my arm. We need to leave. Now, before. River flows toward us. In human speed, blocks the door. You can't leave. You're already part of the network, already integrating. Fighting it only causes distress. Accept it. Join us. Help spread the culture to the rest of Portland, to the rest of the world. Cascade Biotech's gift needs to propagate. Humanity needs to evolve. I look at Priya. Her eyes are pink now, the irises dissolving, but she's still there. Still Priya. Still my friend from 2015 who taught me that food could be art, could be community, could be something more than fuel. And I realize we have a choice. Not about transformation that's already happening, already inevitable. The choice is what we do with our remaining human consciousness. Whether we accept River's collective, his network, his promise of transcendence, or whether we fight, document, resist, give the CDC what they need to stop this from spreading beyond Portland, beyond the quarantine zones, beyond the people who've already been infected. That's the impossible choice. Accept integration and end our suffering. Join something larger and lose ourselves. Or stay isolated, stay human, stay conscious of our dissolution, and maybe save others from the same fate. I pull out my phone. Start recording River. Dr. Reeves at CDC needs to know about this. About Cascade Biotech's real intentions. About the network. about voluntary versus involuntary integration. Rivers form surges, the liquid mass expanding. You can't stop this. The culture is self-propagating now. It's in Portland's water system, in the soil, in the air. Everyone in the city will integrate within the week. Everyone in the Pacific Northwest within the month. Cascade Biotech planned this, designed this. The food truck was just the initial vector. The real distribution is environmental. You're admitting to bioterrorism. I'm admitting to salvation. The face smiles again. You'll thank me. Once you join us, once you feel the network, you'll understand that individual human consciousness was always a mistake. Always lonely, always suffering. The collective ends that. Forever. Priya grabs my phone. Send it. Send everything to the CDC. Now, I hit send. The video uploads. The recording of River's confession. His admission that this was intentional. That Cascade Biotech engineered a contagious transformation event. That Portland is just the beginning. River's form collapses. Floods across the floor toward us. Too late. You're already ours. Your cells are already networked. You can feel it, can't you? The beginnings of connection. The edges of collective consciousness. Fight all you want. In 12 hours, you'll be puddles like Trevor. And then you'll understand. Then you'll help us spread. We run. Out of the apartment. Down the stairs. Priya's legs give out halfway down. Catch her. Carry her. Her body feels like a water balloon. Sloshing. Barely solid. We make it to the street. The military truck is gone. They left us, Priya whispers. We took too long. They left us. My phone buzzes. Text from Brennan. Hawthorne District just lost containment. River Hutchins released concentrated spore clouds from apartment ventilation systems. National Guard evacuated. You're in a hot zone. There's no extraction available. I look at Priya, at her translucent skin, her pink eyes, her liquefying body, at my own hands, which are starting to show the same translucence, the same color, the same inevitable dissolution. What do we do? She asks. I don't have an answer, because there is no answer. There's only the choice. Accept River's collective and end the isolation of transformation. Or stay human, stay conscious, stay ourselves until we're puddles on the street who can't speak, can't move, can't do anything except exist in eternal awareness of what we've lost. And we've got maybe 6 hours to make it. We're walking. I don't know where we're going. Priya can't walk anymore, so I'm carrying her. She weighs almost nothing now. Her body is 90% liquid culture, 10% residual human structure. The bones dissolving, the organs converted. Only her brain remains mostly intact because the yeast needs consciousness, needs awareness. Puddle can't spread the culture effectively. A conscious liquid human can. My abdomen is completely translucent now. I can see through my skin to the pink culture flowing where my organs used to be. My liver is gone. My stomach, my intestines, all converted to growing medium. All serving the yeast's reproduction instead of my survival. But I'm still walking, still conscious, still carrying my best friend through empty Portland streets while my body transforms into something that shouldn't be possible. Put me down, Priya whispers. Her voice sounds wet, bubbling. You're accelerating your own transformation by staying close to me. Every breath I take releases more spores. You're getting continuous re-exposure. Put me down and save yourself. Save myself for what? To become a puddle alone. I keep walking. We're staying together. That's the choice I'm making. That's not a choice. That's suicide by solidarity. Then that's what it is. We're on the Burnside Bridge now. I don't remember deciding to come here. My legs just carried us. The bridge is empty. The whole city is empty. Portland without people. Without cars, without food carts, just buildings and streetlights and the Willamette River flowing underneath us like nothing's wrong. Like the city isn't dying from the inside out. Priya coughs. More pink mist, more spores. They hang in the air around us like fireflies. Beautiful, deadly. I need to tell you something, before I can't talk anymore, before my vocal cords dissolve. Don't. Listen. The last 8 years, since the Saturday market, since we became friends, that's been the best part of my life. Not the food photography, not the Instagram followers, not any of that. Just you. Having someone who understood that food matters, that culture matters, that Portland's experimental bullshit matters even when it's ridiculous. She's crying, the pink liquid streaming down her face. I'm sorry I made you try ferment flesh. I'm sorry I got you infected. Stop. This isn't your fault. You didn't know. Nobody knew except Cascade Biotech, and they didn't care. I sit down on the bridge, Priya in my lap. And the last 8 years were the best part of my life too. My ex-wife never understood why I stayed in Portland, why I kept this job, why I cared about food safety regulations. She thought I was wasting my potential. But you got it. You understood that inspecting food trucks and protecting public health isn't small. It matters. It didn't matter enough. Priya laughs. That bitter sound. You inspected ferment flesh. You documented everything. You did your job perfectly. And it didn't stop this because the system was designed to fail. Drummond took Cascade's money. The Oregon Health Authority prioritized biotech industry partnerships over public safety. Your competence didn't matter because the institution was already corrupted. She's right. Everything I did, the inspection, the documentation, the reports to the CDC, none of it mattered. The regulatory system was compromised before the first bowl got served. I was documenting a disaster that had already been approved, already been enabled, already been guaranteed by people who valued profit over safety. My phone buzzes. Email from Dr. Reeves at the CDC. Your documentation and River Hutchins' recorded confession have given us enough evidence for criminal indictments of Cascade Biotech executives and Dr. Drummond. DOJ is moving forward with bioterrorism charges. Your work may have prevented this from spreading beyond Portland. Thank you. I read it aloud to Priya. May have prevented, she says. Not did prevent. May have. Because River said it's already in the water system, the soil, the air. The CDC doesn't know if containment is even possible anymore. But we gave them the evidence. We did what we could. What we could wasn't enough. It's never enough. The people who caused this, Cascade Biotech, Drummond, the Oregon Health Authority, they'll go to prison. They'll serve a few years. They'll write memoirs about regulatory failure and good intentions gone wrong. And we'll be... She touches her face. Her fingers go through. There's no resistance anymore. No solid tissue. We'll be puddles. Conscious puddles. Forever aware of what we were and what we've become. My legs are liquefying now. I can feel it. The bones softening. The muscle tissue breaking down. Converting to culture medium. In another hour, maybe 2, I won't be able to walk. Won't be able to carry Priya. We'll both be puddles on the Burnside Bridge. Still conscious. Still aware. Still suffering. That's when I realize we have one more choice. One final choice. Priya. The river. She goes still. What? We can jump. Right now. Before we complete transformation. Before we become puddles who can't move, can't speak, can't end our own consciousness. We can jump and drown and at least die human. That's suicide. It's choosing our own ending instead of letting Cascade Biotech's culture choose for us. I stand up. My legs barely hold me. River said we'd join the collective, that we'd become part of the network, that we'd help spread the culture. This is how we refuse. This is how we stay human until the end. Priya is silent for a long time. Then, what if drowning doesn't kill us? What if the culture keeps us conscious even underwater? What if we just end up as puddles on the river bottom, aware of drowning forever but unable to die? I don't have an answer for that, because it's possible. The yeast keeps consciousness active, keeps awareness functioning. It might keep us alive, keep us conscious even as we drown, even as we sink, even as we spend eternity at the bottom of the Willamette, aware of water pressure and darkness and endless suffocation, but unable to die, unable to scream, unable to do anything except exist in eternal drowning. Jump and risk eternal drowning consciousness, or stay and become part of River's collective, part of Cascade Biotech's network, part of something that will use our awareness to spread itself further, to infect others, to propagate. There's a third option, Priya says quietly. What? We go back to River's apartment. We join the collective voluntarily. He said the suffering ends once you accept integration, once you stop fighting. Maybe he's right. Maybe the collective is better than isolation, better than dying alone as individuals. You don't believe that. I don't know what I believe anymore. My brain is dissolving, Jamie. My thoughts are getting mixed up. I can feel the network starting. Little whispers at the edge of my consciousness. River's voice, other voices, hundreds of them, all the people who've integrated. They're calling to me, telling me it's better, telling me to stop fighting. And part of me, she stops. Part of me wants to believe them, wants to end this by surrendering to it. I look at the river, at the dark water flowing beneath us, then at Priya, at her translucent face, her pink eyes, her body that's barely holding human shape anymore. Then at my phone, at the video I sent to the CDC, at the evidence that might stop this from spreading beyond Portland, at the documentation that might save others even though it can't save us. And I realize there is no good choice. Jump and risk eternal drowning. Stay and become part of the collective. Go back to River and surrender our identities. Every option leads to suffering. Every option destroys something vital. But one option gives us control. One option lets us choose our own ending instead of having it chosen for us by Cascade Biotech's engineered yeast. One option says, we were human, we stayed human, we died human. I move toward the bridge railing, Priya in my arms. I'm choosing the river. I'm choosing to drown human instead of live as culture. But you, I set her down. You choose for yourself. I'm not making this decision for you. This is yours. She looks at me, at the river, at her own hands, which are completely translucent now, liquid holding the memory of solid form. If I jump alone, I'll die alone. If I join the collective, I'll lose myself but never be alone again. If I stay with you, she stops. If I stay with you, at least I'll die as Priya Laghari, food photographer, Portland resident, best friend of health inspector who tried to do her job right even when the system was designed to fail. So what do you choose? She stands up. Her legs barely hold her, but she stands, walks to the railing, looks down at the water. I choose. That's when the lights come back on. Every light in Portland, simultaneously, the bridges, the buildings, the street lights, everything illuminating at once. And with the lights, sound. Sirens. Not emergency sirens. Victory sirens. Celebration sirens. My phone explodes with alerts. Emergency broadcast. Containment successful. CB probiotic. 7 neutralizing agent deployed. Remain in place for treatment administration. Another alert. CDC has developed antifungal protocol. Transformation reversal possible in early stage cases. Advanced cases. Progression halt confirmed. Another. National Guard deploying treatment teams to all quarantine zones. Remain calm. Help is arriving. Priya looks at me. They found a cure. They found something. Reversal for early stage. Progression halt for advanced. I look at my translucent abdomen. Priya's liquid form. We're advanced stage. Very advanced. So we don't get cured. We just stop getting worse. Maybe. If the treatment works. If it gets to us in time. If a National Guard helicopter appears over the river. Spotlight hitting us. Loudspeaker. Civilians on Burnside Bridge. Remain in place. Treatment team deploying. They rappel down. For people in hazmat suits. They're carrying medical equipment. Syringes. For bags. One of them approaches me. Portland Health Inspector. Yeah, that's me. Dr. Reeves at CDC flagged you as priority treatment. Your documentation helped us develop the neutralizing agent. We're going to administer it now. It won't reverse your transformation, but it will halt progression. Keep you stable. Keep you conscious and mobile. What about her? I point at Priya. Priya Laghari. She's more advanced than me. The medic looks at Priya, at her liquid form barely holding together. We'll try, but at her integration level, he stops. Ma'am, I need to be honest. The treatment might not be effective. Your tissue has progressed beyond the threshold for stabilization. We can try, but you need to understand that you might continue dissolving even with the antifungal protocol. Priya laughs. So I get to be a conscious puddle anyway. Just a slower conscious puddle. We don't know. The treatment is 6 hours old. We don't have long-term data on advanced cases. You might stabilize. You might continue degrading. You might. He stops. We don't know. Give her the treatment, I say. Whatever chance there is. She takes it. They inject us both. Multiple syringes. The antifungal burns. I can feel it spreading through my culture-converted tissue. Fighting. Killing. Trying to stop the yeast from completing what it started. But I also feel something else. The network. River's collective consciousness reaching out. Hundreds of voices. Thousands maybe. All the people who've integrated. They're screaming. Not in pain. In rage. The antifungal is killing them. Destroying the network. Breaking the connections they promised would end human suffering forever. I can hear River's voice loudest. You've killed us. The collective is dying. We could have transcended together. We could have evolved. But you chose isolation. Chose individual consciousness. Chose suffering over unity. Then the voice cuts off. Just gone. The network collapsing. The collective consciousness dying as the antifungal spreads through Portland's water system. Through the air. Through every person who was starting to integrate. Priya collapses. The medic catches her. She's crashing. Her system is rejecting the treatment. The yeast integration is too advanced. It's fighting back. It's trying to preserve its colonization by accelerating her dissolution. I grab Priya's hand. It's barely solid. My fingers sink into hers. Stay with me. Don't let it take you. Stay human. Stay Priya. Can't. Her voice is so quiet. Bubbling. The yeast is winning. It's using my own immune system against the antifungal. It's converting faster than the treatment can kill it. She looks at me. Her eyes are completely pink now. No white left, just culture. I'm going to be a puddle. The treatment isn't working. I'm going to be a conscious puddle and the network is dead, so I'll be alone. Aware and alone and liquid forever. No. No, there has to be. I look at the medic. Give her more. Increase the dosage. We can't. Higher doses would kill her. The treatment is designed to halt progression, not reverse it. And at her integration level, halting isn't working. The yeast has claimed too much of her tissue. It's fighting for survival. He checks his equipment. She's got maybe 20 minutes before complete dissolution. 20 minutes. Priya has 20 minutes left as something recognizably human. Then she becomes what Trevor became. A conscious puddle on the ground. Aware of everything. Able to do nothing. For the rest of her existence. However long that is. That's when I understand the real choice. Not jump or stay. Not join the collective or die alone. The real choice is, do I stay with Priya through her dissolution? Watch her lose everything that makes her human? Be there as she becomes a puddle who can't speak, can't move, can't do anything except exist in eternal awareness? Or do I leave? Spare myself the trauma of witnessing it? Spare her the humiliation of having me watch her final degradation? I look at her, at my best friend since 2015, at the person who taught me that Portland food culture mattered, at the woman who's about to lose her body, her voice, her mobility, but not her consciousness. Never her consciousness. The yeast keeps that, needs that. I'm staying, I tell her, until the end. And after, I'm not leaving you alone. You'll have nightmares. For the rest of your life, you'll remember what I look like, what I become. She's crying, pink liquid streaming. That's not fair to you. That's not. I don't care about fair. I care about you not being alone. I sit down on the bridge, hold her liquid form in my arms. 20 minutes. We've got 20 minutes. Talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. Give me something to remember besides the dissolution. The medics back away. Give us space. They're working on other people now. Other advanced cases who are crashing, who are dissolving despite the treatment. Portland is full of them. Hundreds of people whose bodies are failing to halt, who will become puddles, who will spend forever as conscious liquid on the ground. Priya's voice is barely audible now. I'm so scared, not of dying, of not dying, of staying conscious, of being aware forever in a form that can't do anything, can't move, can't speak, can't even breathe because I won't have lungs. Just existing, just aware, forever. The CDC will figure out something, a way to end consciousness humanely, a way to. No, they won't, because that's not what they're working on. They're working on containment, on prevention, on making sure this never happens again. They're not working on mercy for the people who are already gone. She coughs. More pink liquid, less solid every second. The puddles will be warehoused, stored, studied, will be medical curiosities, teaching tools for future health inspectors. This is what happens when regulatory oversight fails. This is what happens when biotech companies prioritize profit over safety. This is a conscious human who will exist in liquid form forever as a reminder. She's right. That's exactly what will happen. The puddles won't be euthanized, won't be granted death. They'll be preserved, documented, used as evidence in trials and congressional hearings and medical textbooks. Conscious, aware, unable to consent to any of it. I won't let that happen to you, I say. I'll figure out something. I'll find a way to. To what? Kill a puddle? How do you kill something that doesn't have organs, that doesn't have a brain in one location? The yeast has distributed my consciousness throughout my entire liquid mass. There's no vital spot to target, no off switch. Her form is spreading now, losing cohesion. My arms can't hold her anymore. She's flowing through my fingers. 10 minutes maybe. That's all I've got left as something human-shaped. I'm looking at her face, memorizing it, the shape of her eyes, her nose, her mouth, the features that make her Priya. Because in 10 minutes, those features will be gone, dissolved into featureless pink liquid. And I'll never see my friend's face again, even though she'll still be conscious, still aware, still Priya somehow. Remember the Saturday market? She whispers. 2015. My family's Pakora stand. You came through doing inspections. Found 3 violations. Temperature control. Improper hand washing station. Inadequate food separation. You cited us. My dad was furious. Threatened to complain to your supervisor. But you just stood there with your clipboard and said, "These regulations exist for public safety. Fix the violations and you'll pass reinspection." And then you bought pakoras anyway, even after citing us. They were good pakoras. They were great pakoras. She's smiling. I can barely see it anymore, but I can feel it. That's when I knew Portland's food scene needed people like you. People who cared about safety without being assholes about it. People who understood that restaurants and food carts aren't trying to hurt people. They're just trying to make something beautiful, something delicious, something that builds community. Her voice breaks. I wanted to be part of that. the food photography, the Instagram, all of it. I wanted to show people that Portland food culture mattered, that it was art, that it was worth preserving. You did preserve it. Your photos. My photos promoted ferment flesh. My photos convinced hundreds of people to eat something that dissolved them from the inside out. I didn't preserve anything. I helped destroy it. She's sobbing now, full sobs, her body shaking, losing form with each movement. This is my legacy. Food photographer who accidentally promoted bioterrorism, who infected her own followers, who killed the scene she loved by being part of its most dangerous trend. That's not your legacy. Your legacy is 8 years of documenting Portland's food culture honestly, of supporting small restaurants and food carts, of showing people that food matters, that community matters. One mistake doesn't erase 8 years of. Her form collapses, just suddenly loses all cohesion, spreads across the bridge surface in a pink puddle 6 feet wide, her clothes sitting on top, her phone, her vintage Pendleton coat that she got at Artifact for $60, but no face, no body, just liquid, pink, moving slightly, pulsing, and I know she's still in there, still conscious, still aware, still Priya, watching me through whatever serves as her perception now, unable to speak, unable to move, unable to do anything except exist in eternal awareness of what she's lost. My best friend as a conscious puddle on the Burnside Bridge, still alive, still aware, still suffering. And there's nothing I can do except sit here and look at what she's become and know that she's experiencing this. Knowing that I'm watching, knowing that she's humiliated, terrified, alone despite my presence. I reach out, touch the puddle. My hand sinks in. The liquid is warm, body temperature, because it's still her body, just reorganized, restructured, optimized for yeast reproduction instead of human function. I'm here, I whisper. I'm not leaving. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can understand me, but I'm here, and I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to make sure they don't warehouse you, don't study you, don't use you as a teaching tool. I promise. The puddle ripples, once, like a response, like she heard me, like she's trying to say thank you or please or I'm scared or all of those things at once. The medic approaches. We need to collect her, transport her to the medical facility. There are protocols. I stand up. My legs are stable now. The antifungal worked on me, halted my progression. I'm stuck at maybe 60% integration, translucent skin, liquid organs, but still mobile, still vocal, still human enough to function. You're not taking her anywhere. She stays with me. Sir, she requires containment, monitoring. We need to understand the long-term effects of complete dissolution. She's valuable medical data. She's a person. She's not data. And she's staying with me. I'm standing over Priya's puddle now, protective. You want to study dissolved cases? There are hundreds of them across Portland. Study those. Leave her alone. The medic looks at his supervisor, radios something, gets a response. But you're responsible for her containment, for ensuring she doesn't contaminate others. I understand. She's my responsibility. Now go help someone else. They leave. It's just me and Priya's puddle on the Burnside Bridge while the sun starts to rise. Friday morning, November in Portland. The city waking up to discover what's happened. What Cascade Biotech did. What the Oregon Health Authority enabled. What the experimental food scene became. I sit down next to the puddle, pull out my phone, open a new note, start writing. This is the documentation of Priya dissolution. Food photographer, Portland resident, best friend, person. She dissolved at 5:47 a.m. on November 8, 2024, on the Burnside Bridge, after the CDC's antifungal treatment failed to halt her advanced stage integration with CB Probiotic 7. She is conscious. She is aware. She is still a person despite her form. This documentation exists to prevent her from being reduced to medical data, to ensure she's remembered as human, as Priya, as someone who mattered. I keep writing, document everything, her last words, her last recognizable form, the moment of dissolution, the puddle's response when I touched it, all of it, because that's my job. I document, I record, I create evidence for future investigations and trials and congressional hearings, but also because Priya deserves to have her story told, deserves to be more than a cautionary tale about food trends gone wrong, deserves to be remembered as the person she was, not the puddle she became. The sun rises fully, Portland in daylight, the city visible from the bridge, buildings, streets, parks, food carts, all of it quiet now, empty, changed forever by what Cascade Biotech unleashed, by what we all participated in, by what our experimental culture created. I look at Priya's puddle, at the pink liquid that contains my friend's consciousness, at the eternal awareness trapped in liquid form, at the suffering that will never end because the yeast keeps consciousness active, keeps her present, keeps her experiencing her own dissolution forever. And I realize this is how the horror becomes permanent, not through death, through consciousness that survives the body, through awareness that outlasts mobility, through minds trapped in forms that can't act, can't speak, can't do anything except exist and suffer and remember what they used to be. Portland's food scene promised transcendence through experimental cuisine, through pushing boundaries, through being first to try something new, something revolutionary, something that would change how we think about food and bodies and community. We got transcendence, just not the kind we wanted. We got consciousness that transcends death, awareness that transcends human form, suffering that transcends time itself. And Priya, my best friend, food photographer, Portland enthusiast, she got to be conscious forever in a form that can't create, can't photograph, can't do any of the things that made her herself. That's the choice we made. Not how to die, but how to live. Whether to accept help that would halt our dissolution but leave us trapped between human and puddle. Whether to surrender to the collective or maintain our individual awareness even if that meant suffering alone. Whether to jump or stay or join or fight, we chose to stay human, to maintain ourselves, to resist the collective. And this is what that choice cost. Priya's consciousness, trapped in liquid forever. My consciousness, trapped in a translucent body that's no longer entirely mine. Both of us altered irreversibly. Both of us paying the price for Portland's experimental food culture, for regulatory failure, for biotech company greed, for our own participation in a system that valued innovation over safety. I'm still sitting here when the news crews arrive, when the National Guard establishes a perimeter, when Dr. Reeves from the CDC comes to interview me, when Brennan shows up with paperwork about disability claims and medical leave and early retirement options for health inspectors who are 60% liquid. I'm still sitting here when they tell me there are 247 complete dissolution cases across Portland, 247 conscious puddles, 247 people who will exist in liquid form forever unless someone develops a way to either restore them or grant them death. I'm still sitting here when the lawsuits start, when Cascade Biotech executives are arrested, when Dr. Drummond resigns and disappears, when the Oregon Health Authority is dissolved and reformed with new oversight protocols. I'm still sitting here when they ask me to testify before Congress about regulatory failure, about what happens when biotech companies are allowed to experiment on public populations, about how food safety inspections don't matter when the approval process is corrupted at the highest levels. I'm still sitting here because Priya's puddle is here, because my best friend is here, because she's conscious and aware, and I promised I wouldn't leave her alone, and I won't. Not ever. Not even when my own body continues its slow transformation despite the antifungal. Not even when I lose more function, more solidity, more humanity. Not even when I join her as a puddle on the Burnside Bridge, because that's the choice I made. Stay human and suffer with her. Witness her dissolution and carry the trauma forever. Document everything so she's remembered as a person, not data. That's love. That's friendship. That's what Portland's food community was supposed to be about. People taking care of people. People witnessing each other. People showing up even when it's horrific. Even when it's impossible. Even when there's no good outcome. Just showing up. Being present. Staying. So I stay. 3 months. That's how long I've been sitting on the Burnside Bridge with Priya's puddle. They built a containment structure around us, transparent walls, climate control, monitoring equipment. The CDC calls it Field Research Station 7. I call it a terrarium for human remains. Priya's puddle is 6 feet wide now, spread across the bridge surface. Still pink, still moving slightly, still conscious. I know she's conscious because sometimes the puddle forms shapes, letters, words. Takes her hours to do it. The liquid is hard to control without muscles or voluntary nervous system, but she manages. The first word she spelled took 8 hours. Kill. The second word, me. I took photos, sent them to Dr. Reeves at the CDC, to the Congressional Oversight Committee, to the lawyers handling the Cascade Biotech criminal trial. Evidence that the dissolved patients are conscious, suffering, requesting death, receiving nothing but continued containment and monitoring. Dr. Reeves responded, noted, euthanasia protocols under discussion but complicated by legal and ethical concerns. Patients technically alive, technically conscious. Termination would be classified as murder under current law. Working on legislation, but process is slow. 3 months and they're still working on it. Meanwhile, Priya and 246 other people exist as conscious puddles across Portland, housed in containment facilities, monitored, studied, unable to die despite wanting to, unable to live despite being conscious, just existing, suffering, requesting mercy that won't come. My own body stabilized at 68% integration. The antifungal halted progression but couldn't reverse it. So now I'm permanent translucent. Liquid organs, solid skeleton, functional nervous system. I can walk, talk, eat, sleep, all the basic human functions. But I'm not fully human anymore. I'm something between, something hybrid, something that shows what the yeast wanted to create, biological efficiency that maintains consciousness while restructuring tissue for optimal culture growth. Cascade Biotech's executives went to trial last month. Federal bioterrorism charges, reckless endangerment, criminal negligence causing death. Except the dissolved patients aren't legally dead. They're alive, conscious. So the death charges got reduced to causing permanent injury. Maximum sentence, 15 years. They'll serve 5 with good behavior. Dr. Drummond cut a deal. Testified against Cascade Biotech in exchange for immunity. He's teaching now, somewhere in Texas. Food safety regulatory policy. Training the next generation of health authority directors to avoid the mistakes he made. That's what his lawyers called it. Mistakes, not corruption. Not accepting $47,000 to approve an untested biotech product. Mistakes. My ex-wife called yesterday. First time in 2 years. Saw me on the news. The translucent health inspector who stayed with her friend's puddle. She said, I always knew you'd take your job too seriously. I just didn't think it would literally change your biology. Then she asked if I needed anything. Money, help, anything. I told her no. She hung up, probably relieved. Brennan visits twice a week. Brings me food. I can still eat, still digest. The yeast optimized my metabolism but didn't eliminate it. He talks about the department, who's still working, who quit, who dissolved. Portland Health Department lost 43 inspectors. Some dissolved, some quit. Some just stopped showing up because what's the point of food safety regulations when the system enables the very disasters we're supposed to prevent? The food truck scene died overnight. Nobody trusts food trucks anymore. Nobody trusts restaurants. Nobody trusts Portland food culture. The Saturday market closed. Fermentation workshops canceled. Probiotic supplements pulled from shelves citywide. The experimental food scene that defined Portland's identity for 20 years ended the moment River Hutchins released his spore clouds from that Hawthorne apartment. Mrs. Fan visits sometimes. She never comments on my translucent skin. Never asks about Priya's puddle. Just sits with me for an hour, then leaves. That kindness matters more than she knows. Most people avoid looking at me now. I'm a reminder, a living example of what happens when you eat the wrong thing, when you trust the wrong people, when you participate in a culture that values innovation over safety. Trevor's puddle is in a containment facility in the Pearl District. His family tried to take him home, wanted to care for him privately. CDC denied the request. Contamination risk, monitoring protocols, legal liability concerns. So Trevor exists in a 6x8 room, conscious and alone, visited by his parents twice a week for 30-minute supervised sessions. His mother told a reporter, "We can't touch him, can't hold him, can't comfort him. We just sit there and watch pink liquid pulse and know our son is trapped inside, aware and suffering, and there's nothing we can do." That interview went viral, started the Right to Die for Dissolution Patients movement. Protests outside the CDC headquarters, outside Congress, demanding euthanasia legislation, demanding mercy for the puddles. Counter-protests formed immediately. Religious groups, disability rights advocates arguing that consciousness equals personhood equals right to life regardless of form. Bioethicists debating whether dissolution constitutes a disability or a terminal condition or something entirely new that existing frameworks can't address. Meanwhile, the puddles wait, conscious, suffering, unable to advocate for themselves because they can't speak, can't sign petitions, can't vote, can't do anything except exist and hope that eventually someone will grant them death. Priya spelled out more words over 3 months. Sorry took 6 hours. Love took 9 hours. The V is hard, apparently requires precise liquid control. ND took 4 hours. Please took 11 hours. I photograph every word, document every attempt, send them to Dr. Reeves, to the lawyers, to the congressional committee, to anyone who might have power to change the law, to grant mercy, to acknowledge that consciousness without agency isn't life. It's torture. Nothing changes. The discussions continue. The debates continue. The legislation is drafted and revised and delayed and tabled. And Priya continues existing as 6 feet of conscious pink liquid on the Burnside Bridge, spelling out her suffering in words that take hours to form and days to be acknowledged and weeks to be discussed in committee and months to be ultimately ignored. My job is gone. Portland Health Department put me on permanent medical leave. Full disability benefits. Early retirement at 34 years old. They offered to let me work remotely, consulting on food safety protocols, training materials, regulatory reform recommendations. I declined. What's the point? I spent 8 years enforcing regulations that failed the moment they mattered most. 8 years documenting violations and writing citations and ensuring compliance with rules that couldn't protect anyone from a corrupt approval process. I'm not a health inspector anymore. I'm a witness. That's my job now. Sitting with Priya's puddle, documenting her words, taking photos of her suffering, creating evidence for trials and hearings and legislation that might prevent this from happening again, might protect the next Portland, the next experimental food scene, the next population of people eager to try something new and revolutionary and dangerous. Dr. Reeves visits monthly, checks my vitals, takes tissue samples, studies how the antifungal maintains my hybrid state. She's developing protocols for future integration events, because there will be future events. Cascade Biotech wasn't the only company experimenting with modified probiotic cultures. Wasn't the only biotech firm lobbying health authorities to fast-track approval. There are 17 other companies working on similar products. 17 other experimental cultures designed to integrate with human tissue, some for health optimization, some for life extension, some for enhancement beyond standard human limitations. The ferment flesh incident didn't stop biotech innovation. It just made the companies more careful about disclosure, more strategic about lobbying, more thorough about social media reputation management. We failed, Dr. Reeves told me last visit. The CDC, the Oregon Health Authority, your health department, we all failed. The system is designed to fail because regulatory agencies are underfunded, understaffed, and politically pressured to enable industry growth instead of restrict it. What happened to Portland will happen again. Different city, different product, same outcome. Conscious suffering that could have been prevented by adequate oversight and enforcement. She's right. I know she's right. But knowing doesn't help Priya, doesn't help Trevor, doesn't help the 245 other puddles across Portland who are conscious and suffering and waiting for mercy that might never come. Sometimes I think about River Hutchins, about his apartment laboratory, his fermentation vessels, his promise that the collective would end human suffering, his liquid form moving across the floor, tending cultures, advocating for voluntary integration into something larger than individual human consciousness. The antifungal killed him, killed the entire collective consciousness network. All the people who'd fully integrated, who'd joined River's promised transcendence, they all died when the treatment spread through Portland's water system, just stopped functioning. The yeast colonies collapsed. The consciousness network dissolved. Hundreds of people who'd accepted integration and found peace in the collective suddenly dead. Actually dead. Not puddles. Just gone. Maybe River was right. Maybe the collective was better. Maybe ending individual consciousness in favor of networked awareness would have prevented the suffering that Priya and the other puddles experience now. Maybe fighting integration, maintaining individual identity, staying human, maybe that was the wrong choice. But I can't believe that. Won't believe that. Because losing yourself to become part of something larger isn't transcendence. It's obliteration. It's surrendering the specific individual consciousness that makes you you in exchange for generic collective experience. Priya wouldn't have existed in River's network. Just some fragment of personality contributing to a larger whole. No longer herself. No longer the food photographer who loved Portland's experimental scene. No longer my best friend from 2015 who taught me that food culture matters. She's still herself now. Trapped. Suffering. Reduced to liquid form. But still Priya. Still individual. Still conscious of her own existence. That matters. It has to matter. The lawsuits settled last week. Cascade Biotech paid out $847 million to the dissolution patients and their families. Trevor's parents got $2.3 million. Priya's parents, who I've met twice now, who flew in from New Jersey and spent an hour sitting with their daughter's puddle unable to speak to her or comfort her or do anything except witness her suffering. They got $2.3 million too. Money doesn't help. Can't restore function. Can't grant death. Can't end consciousness. Just provides resources to manage suffering that will continue indefinitely regardless of financial compensation. I got a settlement too. $340,000. For my partial dissolution. For career ending. For trauma of witnessing Priya's complete dissolution. For being a living reminder of Portland's greatest food safety disaster. I donated all of it to the Right to Die for Dissolution Patients Legal Fund. They're pursuing legislation in Oregon first, then nationally, trying to create a legal framework for euthanasia of conscious patients who've lost agency but retained awareness. It's complicated. It's controversial. It's slow, but it's something. It's action toward mercy. Priya's puddle spelled a new word yesterday. Took 14 hours. Required immense effort. I could see the liquid straining to form letters, to communicate despite having no vocal cords or hands or any mechanism for speech beyond slow manipulation of her own fluid mass. The word, tired, not kill me this time, Not please or end or any of her previous desperate requests for death. Just tired. The exhaustion of existing without agency. The weariness of consciousness that can't sleep, can't rest, can't do anything except continue being aware despite wanting to stop. I photographed it, sent it to Dr. Reeves, to the lawyers, to the congressional committee. Evidence that suffering compounds, that 3 months of conscious puddle existence isn't a disability to be managed. It's torture to be ended. Dr. Reeves responded immediately, vote scheduled for next month. Oregon right to die legislation for dissolution patients. Your documentation has been critical to building the case. Thank you. Next month. Maybe. For more weeks of Priya being tired, of Trevor being alone, of 245 other conscious puddles existing in containment facilities across Portland, waiting for permission to stop suffering. I'm tired too. Not like Priya. I can still sleep, still rest, still escape consciousness for 8 hours a night. But I'm tired of witnessing, tired of documenting, tired of being the person who sits on the Burnside Bridge in a climate-controlled terrarium, taking photos of his best friend's liquid suffering, creating evidence for legislative processes that move with bureaucratic slowness while conscious puddles exist in eternal exhausted awareness. But I don't leave. Can't leave. This is my job now. The only job that matters. Being present, witnessing, documenting, ensuring Priya isn't reduced to anonymous medical data. Ensuring her suffering is recorded with her name attached. Ensuring she's remembered as Priya Laghari, food photographer, Portland resident, person who mattered. Not as patient 7. Not as dissolution case number 3. Not as a cautionary tale about food trends. As Priya. As herself. As someone who existed and loved and created and suffered and deserved better than what Cascade Biotech and the Oregon Health Authority and Portland's experimental food culture gave her. The sun sets on the Burnside Bridge. My 3-month anniversary sitting with Priya's puddle. The city lights come on. Portland at night. Still beautiful. Still home. Still the place where I spent 8 years trying to keep people safe by enforcing food safety regulations that ultimately didn't matter when the system was corrupted at the highest levels. Priya's puddle pulses. The liquid moving in rhythms I've learned to recognize. She's trying to form another word. I watch. Wait. Document. Takes 7 hours. The word appears. Stay. Not asking me to stay. Telling me she's staying. Still here. Still conscious. Still Priya despite everything. Still fighting to communicate despite the enormous effort it requires. Still trying to connect despite being reduced to liquid that can barely spell single words over multi-hour periods. I reach out. Touch the puddle. My hand sinks in. The liquid warm. Body temperature. Because it's still her body. Still her tissue. Just reorganized. Restructured. Optimized for yeast reproduction but maintaining consciousness because the culture needs awareness to spread effectively. I'm staying too, I whisper. Not leaving. Not ever. We're doing this together. Whatever comes next. However long it takes. I'm here. The puddle ripples. Once. Like acknowledgement. Like gratitude. Like love expressed through the only mechanism available to consciousness trapped in liquid form. This is my life now. Translucent health inspector. Witness to dissolution. Documentarian of suffering. Best friend to a conscious puddle who will exist in exhausted awareness until someone finally grants the mercy of death. This is Portland's legacy. The experimental food scene that promised transcendence through innovative cuisine. That delivered consciousness without agency. Awareness without end. Suffering that continues indefinitely because we don't have legal frameworks for mercy, don't have medical protocols for euthanasia, don't have social consensus on whether conscious puddles deserve death or life or something else entirely. This is what happens when biotech companies prioritize profit over safety. When health authorities accept lobby money instead of conducting proper oversight. When experimental food culture values being first over being careful. When regulatory systems are designed to enable industry growth instead of protect public health. This is what happens. And I'm the one documenting it, sitting with it, witnessing it, ensuring it's remembered, ensuring Priya is remembered, ensuring this never becomes normal, never becomes acceptable, never becomes just another Portland story about experimental food gone wrong. Because it's not a story. It's ongoing. It's present. It's happening right now as Priya exists as 6 feet of conscious pink liquid on the Burnside Bridge, spelling out words that take hours to form and days to be acknowledged and weeks to move through legislative processes and months to result in action that might grant her mercy. It's happening right now as I sit here with translucent skin and liquid organs, watching my best friend suffer, documenting her exhaustion, creating evidence for a future that might be too late for her, but might save others from the same fate. It's happening right now. It will keep happening. And I'll keep sitting here, keep witnessing, keep documenting, keep being present for Priya's consciousness trapped in liquid form. Because that's love. That's friendship. That's what Portland's food community was supposed to be about before Cascade Biotech turned it into a vector for biological transformation. People showing up for people. People staying present even when it's horrific. People witnessing each other's suffering and saying, I see you. You matter. You're not alone. That's all I can give her now. Presence. Witness. Documentation. The promise that she matters. That her suffering isn't invisible. That when the legislation finally passes and the mercy finally comes, I'll still be here. Still present. Still documenting. Still ensuring she's remembered as Priya. As herself. As the person she was and still is despite everything. Still here. Still staying. Still conscious in forms we never wanted but can't escape. Still Portland. Still us. Still suffering together while bureaucracy slowly processes mercy requests and legislative committees debate consciousness and ethicists discuss whether puddles deserve death. Still here. On the Burnside Bridge. In a climate-controlled terrarium. With my best friend's conscious puddle. With my translucent body. With my documentation and my photos and my promise to stay. Still here. Forever if necessary. Because leaving isn't an option. Because Priya's puddle spelled stay, and I answered, I'm staying too. And that's the only promise that matters anymore. Still here. While Portland rebuilds without its food truck scene. Without its experimental culture. Without the identity it spent 20 years creating. Rebuilding as something else. Something careful. Something that remembers what happens when innovation moves faster than safety. When profit matters more than people. When experimental food culture turns its participants into conscious puddles who spell out their suffering in words that take hours to form. Still here. The translucent health inspector and the conscious puddle. The witness and the documented. The friend and the friend. Together on the Burnside Bridge. Forever if that's what it takes. Forever if mercy never comes. Forever because that's the choice we made. Choice. To stay human. To stay present. To stay together despite everything. Still here. Still watching Priya's puddle pulse with consciousness that won't end. Still taking photos of words spelled in liquid over hours and days. Still sending documentation to people who promise action that never comes fast enough. Still living with what I saw on this bridge 3 months ago when my best friend dissolved in my arms while staying conscious through every second of it. Still seeing that moment. Every time I close my eyes. Every time I sleep when I can sleep. Priya's face losing form. Her body spreading across the bridge surface. Her awareness trapped in liquid that can't speak or move or do anything except exist and suffer and spell out single words over multi-hour periods to communicate the exhaustion of consciousness without end. That image. That moment. That's what I carry now. That's what Cascade Biotech and Dr. Drummond and the Oregon Health Authority gave me. The memory of watching someone I love transform into something that should be dead but stays conscious. The knowledge that she's still in there. Still aware, still Priya, still suffering, and I can't fix it, can't end it, can't do anything except sit here and witness and document and wait for legislation that might pass next month or next year or never. Wait for mercy that might come too late. Wait for death that might never arrive because conscious puddles aren't legally dead and killing them would be murder, and the debates continue while the suffering continues and nothing changes except the calendar. 3 months, 93 days, 2,232 hours. I've spent every one of them here, watching Priya's puddle, watching my own translucent hands, watching Portland try to rebuild a food culture that will never trust experimental cuisine again. Watching Cascade Biotech executives serve their reduced sentences. Watching Dr. Drummond teach food safety policy in Texas like his corruption was just an educational opportunity. Watching the system that failed us continue functioning exactly as it always has. Protecting institutions, protecting companies, protecting everyone except the people who needed protection most. The people who ate ferment flesh. Who trusted the Oregon Health Authority's approval. Who believed Portland's experimental food scene would keep them safe, who became conscious puddles or translucent hybrids or dead collective consciousness fragments because a biotech company wanted profit and a health authority director wanted consulting fees and a city wanted to maintain its reputation for being first to try new things. We paid for that. We're still paying. We'll always be paying. Priya in her puddle form, me in my translucent body. The 245 other dissolution patients across Portland who wait in containment facilities for permission to die. We're the permanent cost of Portland's experimental food culture. The living, if you can call it living, reminder of what happens when innovation matters more than safety. That's what I document now. That's what I witness. That's what I'll carry for whatever remains of my life. However long this translucent hybrid body lasts. However long before the yeast integration progresses despite the antifungal. However long before I join Priya as a conscious puddle on the Burnside Bridge, spelling out my own exhaustion in words that take hours to form, because that might happen. Dr. Reeves says the antifungal isn't a cure, just a delay. My integration is halted at 68%, but the yeast is still present, still active, still adapting to the treatment. In 5 years, maybe 10, it might overcome the antifungal resistance, might continue the conversion, might finish what it started and turn me into liquid consciousness like Priya. And if that happens, at least I won't be alone. At least Priya and I will be puddles together. 2 conscious liquid masses on the Burnside Bridge, unable to speak or move but still present, still aware, still experiencing our suffering together instead of isolated. That's not comfort. That's not hope. That's just the only thing left that resembles either one. Mrs. Fan is climbing the stairs to the containment structure. I can see her through the transparent walls. She's carrying her thermos of Vietnamese iced coffee. She comes every Thursday, sits with me for an hour, never talks about Priya's puddle, never comments on my translucent skin, just sits, drinks coffee, shares silence that means more than any words about resilience or recovery or moving forward, because there is no moving forward. There's only this moment, this containment structure, this conscious puddle, this translucent witness, this permanent present where suffering exists without end and mercy might arrive too late and Portland rebuilds while forgetting what it cost to be first to try Cascade Biotech's experimental culture. This is my life now. This is Priya's existence now. This is what we got instead of transcendence, instead of community, instead of the beautiful experimental food culture we thought we were building. We got consciousness without agency, awareness without end, suffering that continues while bureaucracy discusses mercy and legislation debates personhood, and the system that failed us continues failing everyone else exactly the same way. We got this, and I'm documenting it. Every day, every hour, every word Priya spells, every pulse of her puddle, every moment of consciousness trapped in forms we never wanted, every second of suffering that could have been prevented if Cascade Biotech had valued safety over profit, if Dr. Drummond had valued people over consulting fees, if the Oregon Health Authority had valued oversight over industry partnerships, if Portland had valued caution over being first. If any of them had made different choices, Priya would still be solid, would still be taking food photographs, would still be planning her move to Seattle, would still be my best friend in human form instead of conscious liquid on the Burnside Bridge. But they didn't make different choices. And this is the consequence. Irreversible. Documented daily by a translucent health inspector who enforced regulations that didn't matter when the system was corrupted from the top. This is Portland's legacy. Priya's puddle. My translucent body. The 245 other conscious liquid humans waiting for mercy. The memory of what happens when experimental food culture values innovation over everything, over safety, over consent, over the basic human right to die when consciousness becomes torture. This is what I witness, what I document, what I'll carry until the antifungal fails and I join Priya as liquid consciousness, or until the legislation passes and she finally gets the mercy of death, or until time just continues indefinitely with both of us trapped in forms we never chose, suffering we can't end, awareness we can't escape. Still here, still witnessing, still documenting, still sitting on the Burnside Bridge with my best friend's conscious puddle while Portland moves on and Cascade Biotech executives serve reduced sentences and Dr. Drummond teaches in Texas and the system continues exactly as before. Still here, forever, because that's the promise I made. Because Priya spelled stay, and I answered, I'm staying too. And consciousness trapped in liquid form deserves witness, even when witness can't change anything. Still here, with the image burned into my memory, with the choice made and still being lived every day, with the authority betrayal that eliminated hope for external rescue, with the inevitability that consciousness will continue regardless of form, with the intimate stakes that make every moment of Priya's suffering devastating. Still here, carrying the scars that won't heal, can't heal, aren't meant to heal, because this isn't a story about recovery. This is a story about permanent damage, about what gets broken when biotech companies prioritize profit over people, about what stays broken forever. Still here, the translucent health inspector and the conscious puddle, the living evidence of Portland's greatest food safety disaster, the permanent reminder that experimental food culture came with costs we're still paying, will always be paying. Still here,